Hey everybody, my name is Alex with Hake Hardware, and in this video we're going to go over how to get an autonomous node in the Ubuntu CLI up and running. So this video specifically was created when the Autonomous Taurus testnet was active. We don't have mainnet yet, so the video might be a little outdated, but the wiki that is linked in the description of the video will be updated. So just make sure just to check for any warnings or info at the top here, just to make sure you're doing the latest for the specific network that is out. So as always, check the system requirements for the node. This is the official wiki for the Autonomous Network, and there's specific specifications here. For a node, you're going to want at least 4 cores. They say recommended is Intel Core i7-6700. Just keep that in mind. And there's some RAM requirements. I think it's like 8 or 16 gigabytes. So just go through those, make sure your system meets those requirements. And really, we're just going to jump right into the terminal from here. So I'm going to bring up Termius. And the first thing we're going to want to do is set up our folder structure. So in my home directory, I always create an autonomous parent directory, and then I'll have a node directory, subdirectory, and a node farmer subdirectory. So we'll just do make dir -p, so this means it's going to create any folders that don't exist in the path, autonomous, and then node. So now we have the autonomous folder here, and that's where we're going to basically be downloading the version of the node that we want. So I'm going to bring the browser back up, and I click the link in here, subspace releases. And here we are on the releases page, and you're going to look for the latest tag. So right now it's Taurus 2024, October 24. And I'm going to scroll down here. There's some information about which version you should get. If you're running a processor that's like newer than 2015, you're likely going to want to get the Skylake version. If it's older, between like 2009 and 2015, you're going to want to get the V2. Processors older than that, you're probably going to have to compile from source yourself. And there's also ARM binaries in here, like the AArch64. But we want the node, not the farmer. So I'm going to click Show All Assets, scroll down, and I know I want Ubuntu x86-64 Skylake. So I'm going to right click, copy that link, and then we're going to jump back into the terminal. And I'm going to download this into my autonomous node folder. So I'm going to use wget. I'm going to do -p to specify a path that I want it to download to. And it's going to be my autonomous node. And then I'm just going to paste in that and hit enter. And then if we do cd autonomous node, we can see if we ls, it's there. And we want to make it executable. So chmod +x, and then you can just type s and then tab to autocomplete. And then ls, now it's green, so it is executable. And really, we can just launch the node from here. So let me bring back to the browser. And this is what the command looks like. So we've got subspace node. So basically the executable, run. We're going to specify the chain. So we're going to use Taurus. That's the current network, testnet network. We're going to use the base path. So this is going to create I think there's a DB and a network folder that get created. It's going to be in the node directory that happens. Now, you do need about 100 gigabytes is what they say for node data. If you want to use a different hard drive or a different partition or something, you can specify the path here for your base path, and that's going to be where it stores the node files. This is just a name that the telemetry uses. So I usually just put Hake Hardware tutorial, depending on if it's like my actual system versus like a tutorial example. Prometheus listen on, this is going to be for metrics. So it's going to be reporting metrics out to port 9080 on the local host. And later on, you can set up Grafana and Prometheus to set up dashboards. So I'll have guides for that. And then --farmer. So we're running like a farmer node. And there's other types of nodes, like there's operators and there's timekeepers. So this one is specifically farmer. and then we're going to tee the logs out to the autonomous node folder, and we're going to name the file node-logs.log. So this is what the command looks like. Now, you could run it and it would be fine, but how it works is, you have a terminal up, and if you run this command, it's going to start running the terminal. Now, if you SSH in, you have to kind of like create a new terminal to do anything else. It's just printing the logs to the screen. And you also have to like copy and paste this command in. It's kind of a pain. So there's two things we can do, and that's covered in the tips and tricks. So first is we're going to turn our command into a script, and we can use these different variables to set. So the $home allows us to use the path to the home directory, and then autonomous node, if you remember, that's where we stored our executable. So we can basically create a variable with the path to our executable, and you can easily just update this when the version changes. You download the new one, put it in the node directory, and then update this script to use the correct executable. And then we can set a variable for chain. So when we go to mainnet, you might have to specify mainnet for the chain, or maybe there's a name for the mainnet chain, I'm not sure. Base path, so we can see that it's going to be the home directory, and then autonomous node, the node name, so that's what was for the name. I'm going to use Hake Hardware tutorial, and then the log location, so we can specify the log location, all these as variables, and then in the run command, we just import these variables, and this just makes it a little bit easier to run. So that's one improvement that we can make, is turn this into a script. And that way we just have to make the script executable, and then we just have to run the node. Instead of the executable, we're running our node.sh script that we created up here, and that will execute the command for us. But there's an even better another improvement that you can do, which is using a terminal manager. So what you can do is create a session with tmux. So tmux is like a session manager, and it's typically installed default with Ubuntu, but you can install it with apt install tmux, and you create a new session and you give it a name, so node, and then you can run your script inside that session, and you can detach from that node and then do other things in your system. That way, if you accidentally, like let's say you're running Ubuntu desktop, you have a terminal open and you're running your node, if you accidentally close the terminal, then your node stops. So by just having it run in the background with a session manager, it's just a little bit safer, a little bit less inconvenient, and it's a really good way to organize your node and your farmer. So when you run a farmer, you can actually run it as a panel inside the session. So you can have like the top half be the node, the bottom half be the farmer, and you can monitor both at the same time. It's really nice and organized. So let's actually go through and do all of this. I'm going to switch back to the terminal, and we're just going to clear out all this junk. And we're going to create the script inside our node folder. So nano node.sh, and then I'm going to paste in all that stuff from the wiki guide. And actually all this is still good. I'm still using this version. I'm still in this chain. This is still all the information is correct for me. So I'm just going to do Control X and then Y and then enter to save the file. So you can see now we have the executable and we have the node.sh file here, but we need to make that executable. So chmod plus x node.sh. Now they're both green, they're both executable. And now we want to just make sure that tmux is installed. I'm pretty sure it is. And then we can immediately just create the new session with tmux. So tmux new -s for session, and then we name it node. So now we're inside our node, and you can see at the bottom here there is this like it says what our session is or our window is, and we're on the Bob host. So what's cool is we can do like echo hello, and then I can do Control B and then D for detach, and I can do whatever I want out here. I can run more commands, and then let's just say I want to check in on my session. I can do tmux attach-t and then node. And you can see it has all of everything that I did remains in here. So my session has been kind of saved. It continues to run. So if I get out of this again with Control B and then D, let's say I forget what I named my session, I can do tmux ls, and I can see that there was a node, that's the name, and one window. So then I know I can do tmux attach-t node. Okay, so how does that help with running our script? Well, we can run our script inside this tmux session, and then we can detach from it whenever we want. So we can just from here run ./node.sh, and we can see our node has started up, and not only is it printing the logs to the screen, it is going to be printing the logs to our log file inside the node. And we can detach from this anytime we want, and this will just run in the background. So if you start up your node, one thing you're going to see is that it starts to sync right away. And a few things to note: the target listed here, that's the current block height, and the best is your block height. So that best you want to get to the same as target. And it could take a little while. You can see I'm starting to get peers. You want to make sure you have your ports forwarded. That's going to be the fastest way to get peers. And eventually, I'd say maybe in 10 minutes or so, it's going to do what's called a snap sync, and it's going to go from 0 to like 80,000. And then from there, it's going to sync a little bit slower from 80,000 to like 92,000. So I would say it takes less than an hour to be fully synced, and that seems to stay no matter how high the block height gets. Because I remember in Gemini 3H, we were at like 4 million or something for the block height, and it synced like 700,000 blocks per second, and I was like at 3.9 million, like super quick, and then it just synced to 4 million like in less than an hour. So it seems to be about the same. The snap sync's really great. Another thing to notice, I'm getting this error here, totally normal. It's always gotten this error. I don't actually know like why there's always an error for the telemetry, but either way, that's totally normal. You should see your peers grow to 40, but that could take some time. I've noticed like sometimes it's like a couple hours before I get to 40 peers. This is also the tourist testnet, so it might be a little hard to get peers anyways. On mainnet, you probably won't have an issue getting to 40 peers, assuming your ports are forwarded. So let me just show you. We can do Control B and then D, so we've detached, and that terminal is still running. And typically, if I were to close this terminal with the node running, the node would exit. But we can do tmux attach-t node, and we can see it's still running. So I'm going to get out of this one more time, and then I'm going to do ls, actually ls-l, and we can see we have a DB folder that was created, a network folder that was created by our node. We have our logs folder file that was created by our script, and then we have our actual script, and then the executable that the script runs. So all of this is kind of self-contained inside the node folder. I like it. I feel like it's neat, but everybody has their own way of organizing things. And then a last few notes, as I kind of implied, you need to keep your node running. Your node needs to sync, and your farmer will connect to your node, and the node is connected to the blockchain, and they all work together to make sure that your farmer can earn rewards once you're plotting drives and you're farming those drives. So you always want to make sure your node is up to date, it's in good condition, meaning that it's got its ports forwarded, it's able to make connections, and that's really it. Other than that, you just will want to get your farmer set up next and connect your farmer to the node. So hopefully this was helpful. Feel free to leave a like if it was, and I'll see you in the next one.